Good morning. I wanted to do a fresh morning protocol video while I had this beautiful place to record in. So just a reminder, every morning we want to start our day with a big mug or glass of warm beverage, water, tea, coffee, about 16 ounces, a little more if you're daring, and ginger capsules, 1 if you're sensitive to it, 2 if you can handle it. And then we go into belly massage and then some intestine pumps. Let's take 10 minutes and make our day so much better. So I've got one hand over the top of the other so that I can put lots of pressure in, and I'm just starting right in the middle with very broad strokes. Breathing down into that belly. Finding your edge of discomfort, pressing as hard as you can without hurting yourself to really get some stimulation on our stomach and intestines. Even if you only have time to do a minute or 2 minutes, this is really beneficial. I'm moving up a little bit so that I get my solar plexus right under the ribs. Still broad strokes though. Now I'm going to start moving in smaller circles and going clockwise around my abdomen. So I'm like just right inside the rib cage, about where the stomach is and the spleen. Slowly moving around 9 o'clock. If your arms get tired or your wrist cramps, you can just kind of shake it out. At 12 o'clock, we're pressing kind of on the bladder all the way down to the pubic bone. Back to the solar plexus, a little more focused, smaller circle. That's a really sensitive spot for me. If you feel tension when you're breathing, like you can't take a full breath, this is the area that you want to soften up. So some up and down. I'm just shaking up and down, and all that liquid that we drank in there, you can hear it kind of sloshing around. And that is going to trigger peristalsis by giving a sense of fullness and expansion. You can take a break from that, go back to some just broad circles. And if you found an area that was super sensitive while you were going around, you can kind of go back to that and just keep working from broad circles to smaller spots and back out again. Sometimes you'll feel some cramping in there, and while that feels uncomfortable, that's really a good sign. That cramping will lessen over time as you practice. The clouds are moving so fast. I'm up in the mountains, and it's really cool to look up and see them flying over. Now I'm using just the tips of my fingers, but all of them at once, to really dig into my belly button. Because there's a spot on the edge of my belly button that feels like a knot. So give that a little attention. And I'm going to move up between my belly button and my solar plexus. Remember, one of the core muscles that holds a lot of tension, especially just chronic embodied stress that we're trying to release, is that psoas muscle that attaches up here near the solar plexus. And so we're relaxing that a bit, and that can get really sensitive. Just find that edge. Find on the exhale is when I can really work that good. Because while I'm inhaling, it gets too pokey. You got to be constantly emptying your bucket of the stress that builds up just from everyday life. And we're also conditioning our body not to hang on to this stuff, so it gets better over time. Not so much sticks to you. Okay, back to some broad strokes to close this up. That feels so much better. Now, for our intestine pumps, I'm going to start off doing some on all fours. And remember, we're drawing up our belly button towards our spine, and also our pelvic floor drawing up towards our head. And relax. Drawing up and relax. And I get questions about how you're supposed to breathe while you still do this. Just keep a relaxed breath. Don't try to breathe any certain way. Your body will figure it out. And I'm just holding it for like 3 seconds, and relax. We're just going to do a couple minutes of this. We're going to keep this short. I know some of our practice videos are pretty long, but they don't have to be. Your daily practice can be shorter once you've worked out some of the big stuff in your body and we're just maintaining a relaxed gut. The exercises can be shorter. "10 minutes. Tag it on with a little bit of your meditation or somatic immersion, whatever your next thing is.
Okay, and sit up, same thing.
Just find your own pace. All that matters is that you're giving it a vigorous squeezing of the pelvic floor and the abs, and relaxing completely between each squeeze. That way you're getting a lot of movement in there. There's a lot of details I talk about in some of the longer videos. If you haven't seen that or don't remember, please go back and watch that so that you understand more of the foundations of why this exercise is so magic. Okay. And just a few relaxed breaths on your own to relax that gut. And I hope you have a super day. Be well.